Welcome to The Swing, the official newsletter of the Forex Trade Room, Volume 10, March 8, 2024. The US dollar's recent downturn, driven by detailed labor market data, has stoked speculations of impending Federal Reserve rate cuts. As job growth shows signs of slowing and wage growth decelerates, investors recalibrate expectations, closely watching the Fed's next moves in a rapidly changing economic landscape. The Australian dollar is gaining strength as potential early rate cuts by the US Fed boost optimism. Meanwhile, Australia's slower economic growth in Q4 increases the likelihood of rate cuts by the Reserve Bank of Australia, with markets expecting significant easing this year. The Canadian dollar is climbing as strong job additions signal a sturdy labor market, contrasting with cooling signs in the US, leading to a weaker US dollar and mounting speculation of Fed rate cuts. The Japanese yen is gaining momentum as potential interest rate hikes are speculated by the month's end, backed by strong wage growth data. With the Bank of Japan officials hinting at economic improvements, and external factors like Fed Chair Powell's remarks on policy adjustments, the yen has reached a significant high against the dollar. The New Zealand dollar is on the rise, fueled by speculation of early US Federal Reserve rate cuts. Remarks from both the Fed and RBNZ officials indicate a cautious approach to inflation and interest rates, influencing the Kiwi's strength. With the RBNZ maintaining its rate but adjusting peak rate forecasts, investors are closely watching for any shifts in monetary policy. The Swiss franc is holding its ground, backed by stronger than expected economic growth and low inflation rates. Despite previous concerns, the positive GDP figures for the last quarter have lessened the urgency for immediate interest rate cuts by the Swiss National Bank. Meanwhile, inflation remains low, providing little pressure to adjust monetary policy swiftly. The British pound is climbing, driven by optimism around the UK's economic future and anticipation of US rate cuts. While the US eyes rate adjustments due to shifting economic indicators, the UK's fiscal policies and growth forecasts are setting a positive tone for the economy. The euro's recent climb reflects a broader dollar weakness and anticipation of US interest rate cuts. While the ECB has kept its rates unchanged due to inflation concerns, there's growing speculation about when and how it might start to ease its policy stance, given the revised inflation forecasts and cautious approach indicated by President Lagarde. The Mexican peso is gaining strength due to a mix of weakening US dollar and expectations of an interest rate adjustment by the US Federal Reserve. Despite a marginal dip in Mexico's overall inflation, core inflation rates suggest careful observation ahead of the Bank of Mexico's upcoming policy decision. Oil prices faced a downturn, reflecting ongoing uncertainties about demand, particularly from China, and global economic indicators. Despite tight supplies, concerns about China's import reduction and the potential for changing US interest rates influenced market sentiment. The Keystone Pipeline situation, which had raised supply concerns, was quickly resolved without any leakage. Job data points towards a cooling US labor market, pushing gold to record highs as investors bet on sooner-than-expected Fed rate cuts. With central banks hinting at upcoming easing, gold's non-interest allure shines, marking a significant weekly rise. The end of the week saw stock indices pulling back, especially impacted by a decline in the semiconductor sector, highlighted by Nvidia and Broadcom. Apple provided a silver lining for the Dow, amidst broader market adjustments to the latest jobs report and Fed rate cut speculations. This week, investors worldwide will be closely monitoring a wide array of economic data, including inflation rates, retail sales, and GDP growth figures across major economies like the US, UK, and China. Attention will also be paid to inflation in Brazil, India, and Russia, along with industrial production in the Euro area and India. Australia's Business Confidence Index will shed light on economic conditions down under. That brings us to the end of this week's Swing newsletter. As a reminder, Don't forget to tune in for Mindset Mondays with Ryan Carthage starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy your weekend and good luck in the markets next week.